My questionable husband thinks it's a great idea to overshare private information about my lady problems to his coworkers. Do you think I should leave him? I, 31 feet, am married to my wonderful husband, 35 meters. We have also recently become first-time parents to our beautiful baby. My husband is pretty much perfect in every single way, except for one recurrent issue. He keeps telling other people very sensitive information about my gynecological health. Examples of this include 1. Telling his mother details about my menstrual cycle. 2. Telling his male boss when I was diagnosed with uterine fibroids. 3. Specifying exactly what kind of doctor's appointment we are going to, IUD insertion, when asking his mother to babysit for us. I have told him that sharing this kind of sensitive information about what is going on with my body bothers me, and he has apologized every time. This morning, though, he did it again. I had a very severe first postpartum period last night, so bad that the Healthline nurse recommended we call 911. It was so bad I was almost fainting from blood loss. I refused to go to the hospital, but my husband took the day off work to stay home and look after me and the baby. I'm still feeling weak and dizzy today, so I appreciated this. However, this morning over breakfast, my husband mentioned that he had explained why he wasn't at work to a male coworker over text. As in, he had described exactly what was going on with me, my fibroid issue, the bleeding, everything. Bear in mind that I have never even met this male coworker and certainly wouldn't have shared this kind of information with him of my own volition. I got upset. My husband apologized, familiar scenario yet again. I get it, he feels good commiserating about my admittedly very stressful and difficult to manage lady problems with his married coworkers and his mom. It helps him cope, especially after a night spent trying to decide whether I need to be rushed to the emergency room. Still, I am not comfortable with strangers or his mother, knowing the details of what's currently happening in my poor, malfunctioning uterus. So, am I justified in getting increasingly more irritated and upset with my husband every time I find out that he's been discussing my gynecological issues with other people, even though he says it helps him decompress and explain absences from work? How should I handle this situation? Edit. My husband is not autistic, nor does he have ADHD. Normally he is quite good about not sharing something once I tell him the subject is off limits. For some reason, he just doesn't seem to be able to get on board with the idea that anyone should find this kind of information embarrassing or invasive. Update. Okay. Wow. My original post evolved into a mess of something? So first of all, a few extra things to clarify. Yes, I understand that refusing medical advice to go to the hospital carries risks. Where we live, though, unless you are literally on death's doorstep, you will wait 12 hours or more in an ER to be triaged. Sitting in a growing pool of my own blood, with our baby, in a crowded waiting room, did not sound like a helpful place to be. Especially since I already know what's wrong with me. I'm 3 months postpartum with large, symptomatic uterine fibroids, and no, I'm not open to the possibility of a hysterectomy at this time. I want more kids. No, my husband is not autistic, narcissistic, or in any other way developmentally or emotionally limited. Neither is he abusive. Jesus, people, now I'm offended for my husband. No, my own family does not live nearby. During the fallout of my traumatic labor and emergency C-section, my mother-in-law and father-in-law were literally the only family support that we had on scene. My mother-in-law definitely has a habit of being a chronic oversharer with much fewer personal boundaries than me, but she 100% means well. Even though it makes me a little embarrassed when she does things like send over various herbs and teas with my father-in-law, along with detailed instructions on how to use them for menstrual problems, I also get that she's doing it from a place of caring. Yes, husband and his mom are chronically up to their eyeballs in each other's lives. Always have been, always will be. He is an only child, and she was a single teenage mother when he was born. Plus, mothers being super involved in their adult children's lives is a bit cultural for them. Do I sometimes wish he would share less about our married life with her? Heck yeah. Is that a hill that I can and will die on? Nope. I knew this about my husband when I married him. So, the suggestions on my original post ranged from helpful, clarify boundaries, seek support, see the issue from both perspectives, to, frankly, toxic, spread his personal medical information around publicly, berate him, insult him, leave him in the dark about my health status, and my personal favorite, threaten to leave him. Y'all, this man literally does everything and more for me. He held me through serious prenatal and postpartum depression, drove me back and forth across the city to seek help for my issues, sits up with me at midnight on the bathroom floor to ensure that my bleeding eventually stops during an episode, stays home with me when I'm anemic to watch over both me and our baby, changes diapers, cooks me food, lets me dictate the pace of our postpartum intimacy life, checks that I'm taking my meds, does all the heavy lifting housework, tells me he loves me, reassures me, comforts me. Does this give him a free pass to discuss my gynecological issues in public? No. So, he and I sat down yesterday and established clear rules. He officially has my permission to discuss my lady problems with the one other lady of importance in his life, his mom. It helps him process after a scary episode. He admitted to crying out of fear for my safety after I finally fell asleep following the latest episode, and his mom is our biggest support. As for work, he is to say that my wife is struggling with postpartum medical issues. No less, no more. If his boss needs further info, we will have my midwife draw up a doctor's note. My husband agreed to this, apologized, we kissed and made up. I also promised to remember to take my iron pills. Because anemia. As for me, I learned a valuable lesson here. Be careful soliciting advice from the internet, because everyone will bring their own baggage to the issue. It's a little concerning how quickly so many people will figuratively advocate for flogging a loving husband in the public square, just because he's not handling a single issue perfectly. Thank you to everyone who gave constructive, thoughtful advice.